everyone. I'm so happy that you're joining us for the latest episode of Bespoke Conversations here at Skylark International. I'm Nicki Sims, and I'll be your host as together we throw some light on some of the key issues affecting women, both closer to home and across the world. We'll be hearing the inside track for some incredible women who are changing the story for others in their day-to-day lives. I'm joined today by Dr Kate Anolue, Bullsmoor Councillor and formerly twice elected Mayor of the London Borough of Enfield. With more than a decade of experience in local government, Kate is also founder and president of the Forum for African, Caribbean and Asian Women in Politics, as well as CEO and director of Tender Care Health Initiative, supporting the well-being of women and young children, especially vulnerable and teenage mothers. Prior to this, she worked in the NHS for 40 years, first clinically and then supporting her colleagues as their Royal College of Midwives steward. She has received numerous accolades and awards and has a bachelor's degree in law. Please be aware that our conversation today will briefly touch on the areas of bereavement and domestic abuse. Are you ready to be inspired, informed and invested? Let's see what Kate has to share. Kate, welcome to Bespoke Conversations. I cannot wait for this because we have got a wealth of experience to unpack over the course of this chat today. So much to cover. Now, when we were preparing for this interview, I was asking you how I should address you because over the years you have accumulated a number of credentials and a number of different titles. So I wasn't sure whether it should be Dr. Kate, whether it should be Councillor Kate, Mayor Kate, but I'm told Aunty Kate. Is that right?
That is correct. First of all, I must say thank you, Nicki, for inviting me. It's so wonderful to be here. It's such a lovely place. I've never been to Chelmsford before. And what a great day to come. Beautiful day. The sun is shining. It's a wonderful day. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
Thank you.
Now, I want to delve into your childhood because you grew up in Nigeria. You were born in Nigeria. You were the eldest of 7. And you say in your book, Time for Purpose, that you were born to lead, which is a statement that I think I can probably identify with. That sense, even as a young child, that you know that there is leadership within you. But how did that outplay in your family life and in your childhood?
I think when I say I was born to lead, I actually believe that because I'm one of 7, although my siblings came a little bit a while after me. However, I am always in charge. I'm always doing things. I always want to do more than my mother even. My mother's got a stall. I want to, manage the stall. Hence I learned a lot of, doing things myself and then believing that I can do something. And it's just, in fact, I think maybe it's my mom as well. She's made me to believe especially when I say I want to do things, she allowed me to do that. Hence, even her own friends do see me as the second mom.
Oh, they do.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing that you were also a bit of a second mum to all of those siblings as the eldest. Tell me more about that.
Oh, yes. I'm a second mom to my siblings as well as second mom to my parents.
Right.
Especially, probably go quickly, especially during the war, the Civil War, where, we've got altogether 9 mouths to feed. And a lot of families, there was no food coming in due to blockade. So there was a lot of, malnutrition, which with the name Kwashiorkor, you see the children all with their extended tummy. And for me, I couldn't see that happening to my siblings, although I was still very young, but I really love my sibling and I don't want them to go through that. Hence, I was, doing like petty trading as well as myself and having pop-up shops, like cooking and selling and then making some profits and then use that to buy things like salt.
Wow.
Salt, all the little nutritious food that we needed. And that's, where I helped my mother. And I thought, yes, I'm actually second mom, if not first mom.
Second mum, if not first mum,
yes.
to everyone.
That's right.
It's helping me understand Aunty Kate a little bit better. Now, you were obviously resourceful. as a child. You were obviously entrepreneurial to see a need and think, I can do something about that. There's this beautiful self-confidence in you. But I know that growing up, you dreamed of becoming a teacher, and your dad was very supportive of you as a girl, which culturally was unusual. And I'm sure you'll tell us more about that. But at some stage, you had to cut short your teacher training and move to the UK for an arranged marriage, which must have been a hugely hard transition for you. How did you feel about laying down your dream to become a teacher, moving to the UK and marrying a man that your parents had determined for you? And how did you find peace and purpose on the other side of that move?
I think I probably will start with, for us that were growing up in those days, we believe in our parents.
Right.
And we always believe that our parents can never do anything wrong. They want their children to be successful, to live in a nice place. And I believe my parents that they must have found that this family are a very nice family.
Right.
My dad is his friend, and his friend, said, I've got my cousins, that is living in London, UK, and I would really like, also get, your daughter to be the wife, and wasn't with myself. I don't know anything that was going on. They're just discussing about me without me knowing anything.
So you are totally in the dark at this point.
Total.
And how old would you have been at that stage?
I was about 12 or
Right.
yes, 13.
Okay.
But the most important thing to note is that in as much as that was happening, I was still living with my parents.
Right.
But the most thing that it did cut my, kind of my teenage, those teenage, all that teenage parties and all that. It did cut it down. And the reason is because I have to behave as a married woman.
Okay, so
Yes.
technically you're already married because the dowry has been exchanged.
The dowry is
everything's
exchanged.
been agreed. You're just
Everything
not
has been agreed.
living
Yeah.
in that place of marriage until you're of age.
That's right. So I was still living with my parents. But occasionally I'll go to fetch water for the mother. I remember that. I'll go to fetch water for the mother, take to the mom, and then stay and chat with her and then go back to my, parents, so practically I just help her out. This is my mother-in-law,
Yes.
I can't say mother-in-law to be because already the dowry's been done. So I'm not knowing, although I don't know him, but still I got a mother-in-law.
Wow. So fast forward, you're getting to that point where you have started your teacher training, and I think you're entering your final year.
Yeah.
What precipitated that sudden move then to London, and how did you feel about that?
I think to start with, the Civil War. The Civil War already got into my training.
Yeah.
However, as we come back from the north where I was born and brought up in north. Well, as we come back, I started again, continued with my education, the teacher's training. However, when it's like he was ready and he feels I'm ready because then by this time I'm 20. I think I'm 20 already. So he was arranging for me to come and join him. I was ready. I was also prepared to go because my parents are happy. My parents feel, yes, that's good for you, and, I joined him. So, but when I joined him, I was quite happy. In a way, it's like I've made some friends already, although I don't know them, but I used to communicate with my husband's friends' wives. I used to communicate with them. We're just like pen pals, exchanging letters, and I don't know them, but we're exchanging letters, talking about nice things. And so that when I came into England, it's like I've already got friends. So I did all his friends, all are my friends. Their wives are all my friends, so, and it was easy for me, minus the weather.
Minus the weather.
Yeah,
that must have been a shock
the weather
to
was
the
just
system.
more than a shock. More than a shock to the system. But, friendly wise and so forth, I was quite happy, with that, And fortunately as well, a lot of people were talking about how nice the person my late husband, was.
Yes.
So that as well encouraged me as well. And when I came, I was very lucky. Yes, he was a nice man.
Yes, absolutely, because that's not everybody's experience
That's
in an
right.
arranged marriage.
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
So your parents obviously made a good choice.
Yeah.
And so you got married. Well, you were already technically married, but you
Yes.
know what I'm saying. You
Yeah.
came over, started that married life together, and you became a midwife. So not a teacher, but you redirected your passion and your purpose and your skills into the health profession. And you also became a mum during that time to 4 children. And then tragedy struck and your husband suddenly passed away.
Yeah.
You found yourself alone with 4 children, the youngest of whom I believe was around 18 months.
18 months, yes.
How on earth did you navigate this heartbreaking bereavement? And especially knowing that you had left your family unit behind in Nigeria. I know that you had a network of friends, but that must have been devastating for you.
I think it was very, very. When I spoke to my mom, I think my mom was kind of the first person that really gave me that courage.
Wow.
Yes, my mom said to me, it's a cross. You can carry it. And that is why I always say, God does not give you a cross that you cannot carry. You've got a shoulder there and he gives you that cross and you have to carry it. But it's for you now to find out the way to carry it. Because you might be saying in yourself, I can't carry it. But someone already said you can carry it. That's why we gave it to you. So you have to navigate and find how to carry it. And I think that's what I did. And to be able to carry it, I had lots of friends. Lots of friends that I believe in my friends. And they gave me that support. You know, support. Some of them had children that already are teenagers that could come and, you know, keep me company. I'll keep my children company. I'll take them away to the park and things like that. So I have a very good network. And that's why I keep saying to people, it's very, very important to have friends. You know, sometimes it might be friends that are, you know, that disappoint you in one way or the other. So you have to also be careful about that. But you still, upon that, you still get good friends. And I think I owe everything to my friends, actually. Because I did go back to work. I did work full time with 4 children.
Goodness me.
You know, yes.
That's not easy to do.
That's not easy. But because of the type of friends I have, and also, you know, my communication, the way we do things, you know, I'm there for them and they were there for me, you know, when it happened. So I'll probably say that, yes, having those friends. And also believing and trusting myself that I can do it.
Right.
Never use the word I can't. Because when you use the word I can't, it nullifies 99% of a positive attitude in life. And then that 1% of I can't is just spoils everything.
And that self-belief actually is a theme that I think is going to be woven through this whole conversation, because you have got this innate confidence in yourself that you can do it. And I know that your faith is hugely important to you and is one of the things that helped you through that dark period of your life, but actually subsequent curveballs that came. Tell me a little bit more about that.
I believe my faith is amazing to me. Like my parents are staunch Catholics,
Right.
you know, and I was born and brought up in that faith. And that's what I leaned forward to. And I leaned to not just my faith, but to God, you know, thinking, you know, God, are you there? And I say, yes, you're there, because you are helping me to be able to navigate and to be able to jump this very high hurdle. You know, because for me, it's not easy. 4 kids. I don't have my brother. I don't have my sister. I don't have my mother. I don't have my father. So I kind of depend on myself and my friends. And then who are those friends? Those friends that I trusted. And then, you know, if they're not there, I already trusted myself and know that I can do it. And it's the way to do things that was what has helped me. And also financially, I did so many things. You know, I even, while I'm trying to cope, I even started a nursing agency, you know, running a nursing agency.
No way.
Yes.
I mean, just on the side.
Yeah, running
like
a nursing agency and employing 2 people to stay in my house and answer telephone from the hospitals. You know, so I was doing that. And the only time I stopped the nursing agency is when I was trying to get into to study law. And I couldn't get in. When I got in, I said, can you cope with this and cope with that? Which one would you drop? I said, well, I've done a nursing agency enough. Then law is really what I want, because with that, you get a certificate and I can keep the certificate for life.
Goodness me.
Yes.
I mean, the word I would use to describe you is indomitable. It feels like you just have this capacity, whatever life throws at you, to pick yourself up and to keep on going. And I know that you will have taken time to grieve in all of that.
Yeah.
I love what you said about friendship and about not operating in isolation.
Yeah.
We talk about it taking a village, but it's true. It's really true, isn't it? That having those people that will pick you up and will also show practically how much they love you, and for whom we can do that in return.
That's right,
It's invaluable. So that's such a great life lesson for all of us to take away. Now, I don't know how I do 4 decades of service to the NHS justice in one solitary question, but we've got so much to cover in this chat that I think I've only got one question to talk about it. But you served as a midwife with the NHS for 40 years.
Yeah, non-stop.
And during that time, you delivered over 1,000 babies.
Yes.
As mum of 2, we are incredibly grateful for you and all of those midwives who work for the NHS. So thank you for that. I know that during that time, there was a lot of lessons that you learned, but I particularly want to ask, as you were exposed to the lives of women in your local community day in and day out, what did you learn about those needs in terms of healthcare, but also those social needs that particularly affected women in your community?
Oh, there's so much I learned from them. You know, sometimes, especially when they come for the antenatal checkup, or even to start with antenatal booking,
Yes.
you find out really that these women are going through a lot. Some of them that are pregnant, maybe they, due to difficulties, probably the in-laws don't want them, or even the partner don't want them. They end up with the pregnancy alone. So they are on their own. And then they come, and some of them are in a family where they're going through domestic abuse, but yet they cannot move. Reason is because they might be ostracized by their own community.
Wow.
Hence, there's a lot of social problem coming to us, people opening up. I think it's
Massively.
the opening up, that is helped me to, kind of continue to say, I really want to continue to work with women. I need work with women. I need to encourage them. I need to let them know that, you cannot give up. You get on with it. If somebody push you down, don't stay there and let another person come and trample onto you. If somebody push you down, get up, because you can stand, you can do something, you can work. So when I see the things that are going through, and also housing, financially, unemployment, and so forth, it makes you wonder how lucky you are. I'm a single mother, I've got 4 kids, but yet I can still look after them without even asking for help. So, that means, that everybody are not equal, but whatever I can do to help them, to encourage them, to say to them, you are good, you can do this, you can do that. I think this is what really helps me to keep moving on.
Thank you. That's amazing. And I'm pretty certain that it was during this time you told me a story about an 18-year-old girl who came in who was pregnant, and a little bit about her situation. I'd love you to share that story in just a moment. But I think that was a real pivot point in sparking a passion in you to help victims of domestic violence, and particularly to begin to advocate in that area. Could you tell me about that story?
Yeah, I think, even as this very moment that we're talking about it, my eyes are filled with tears. Reason because I'm kind of remembering it very, very clear. And at the moment now, I kind of said, it could have been my daughter, and then this is 18-year-old who come up with a husband who's twice her age as well, and it's been arranged marriage. And he comes with her every Saturday, for her antenatal clinic checkup. And hello, how are you? Are you all right? Yes, I'm fine, thank you, and so forth. I checked the baby, everything's all right. I give her another appointment, And because that's only on Saturdays that the husband can come with her. But one, I can say, is a one lucky Saturday for me and for her, in as much as she probably didn't even know what would happen when she comes in. So as she came in, I said to her, hello, how are you today? And I said, where's your husband? Oh, he's at work. And how are you? Before I could even finish, tears rolled down her eyes, and she started sobbing seriously. And I sat near closer to her, I said, what is it? Then she started telling me that, it's been arranged marriage. She hasn't got any of her relatives in the country. None at all, not even a distant cousin or anything. And but the problem is that when she finished cooking, that every family have to eat. And you know, the family is a large family with, you know, mother-in-law and some of the husband's, you know, siblings and so forth, until they have to finish eating before she can eat. And then if nothing is left, then she has to go and cook again for herself.
And she's pregnant.
And she's pregnant. You know, and she's pregnant. And not only that, the emotional abuse, she gets emotional abuse, and then psychologically, you know, and, you know, not to talk about the finance, when she's financial abuse, when she's, especially like that day she was coming, it's almost like her money is counted, you know. So they get her a card, and then she doesn't have any, all that card is transport to go and come, you know, card for her, you know, that is the ticket, you know. So there's no physical money. You know, so after that, you know, it's just, and then obviously getting more stories. And then what happened with her, I said to her, what do you want me to do now? She said, I don't want to go back. I said, are you sure? I don't want to go back. So I had to look for the out of hours domestic abuse team to come for her. So I never forget her. I never forget that, because I think even in my book, I've got it written somewhere, you know, and it's very, very sad. This is a young person with no relative at all in the country, arranged marriage, you know, and she's been treated like that. You know, who would like their own child to be treated in that manner?
No, it's unimaginable, isn't it? And I know that sparked in you a real passion to do more in the area of domestic violence, which you have gone on to do. You've gone on to be a huge advocate in this area. And I know that there will have been many stories that you will have impacted over the years, and many women that you will have been a part of changing the story for.
Yeah, I do believe so, because sometimes people phone me and say, oh, Aunty Kate, can I talk to you? I say, where did you get my number? You say, oh, so one of my friends gave me your number, and they said you don't mind anybody can have your number. So I said, okay, that's fine. You know, then again, it's you know, about domestic abuse. More recently, I had another young lady. You know, she's been looking after all the children all the while. Out of the blue, the husband came, and then before you know it, he was screaming. I mean, you know, he's stage managed, you know, that, you know, she's trying to, you know, kill her. And then what did he do? The police came and took the lady. So we're trying to work out now, and then she can get, you know, nearer to her children that she's been looking after, you know. So, you know, it's just so sad the way things are going. So we're just working on that at the moment.
An incredibly needed work, and actually across all cultures it's so prevalent, domestic violence. It really is. It's close to our heart here at Skylark International. Now, somehow you made the transition after 40 years serving with the NHS to become Mayor of the London Borough of Enfield, twice elected Mayor of the London Borough of Enfield. I don't think it seems like a logical transition on first glance, but I'm pretty certain that it didn't happen overnight, and there must have been a process. Were you always passionate about local politics, and how did you end up serving in public life?
Never even think about politics at all in my life.
No way.
No, I never thought about it at all. However, you know, midwifery has kind of exposed me to so many things, you know, and again, it's trying to help people as they come up with their problems.
Right.
You know, when I visit moms, you know, sometimes, you know, they have issues with their neighbors, there are environmental problem or housing problem or even unemployment, you know. And then sometimes it's education as well, where they probably have an elder child who probably, you know, didn't go to school, or, you know, or then they're not like the school and so forth. They want me to, you know, they just give you everything to, you know, from midwifery, you have to, you know, kind of solve everything for them. So, and what I do, I take it, I said, I don't know where to look for, but I'm going to find out for you.
Right.
You know, and then I'll go to the civic center. You know, I was working for Haringey, so I'll go to civic center and said, listen, I've got this problem. Who can I speak to? Oh, we get one of, which ward? I said, I don't know the ward, but this is the road. You know, okay, we get one of the councillors to speak with you. You know, and they get a councillor, and then I speak with them, and they always solve the problem as well. And then after a while, I said to myself, who are these councillors? Have they got two heads? You know, who are they? You know, I really want to know how they got there, you know, and so forth. I never knew, you know, that's just a question I asked myself. And then when I found out, you know, I spoke to one of them, I said, how did you become a councillor? Tell me. oh, first of all, you have to be in a party. I said, what party? What are they? They started explaining to me political parties. I said,
Brilliant.
I said, okay. And then I went and said, can you tell me more about each? Then after that, I'll go and find out myself. And that's what I did. At the end of it, I chose one that really, resonates with me. And then from there, and I found out that meetings are only in the evenings, which, again, is fantastic, So I join them in the evening, the meetings there. And that's what I did. And then, but what actually kind of cemented it up really is after studying law,
Yeah.
And I didn't want to, leave midwifery. Those babies, just bringing those babies in the world is such a miracle. So I didn't want to leave that and work in a law firm or anything. So I carried on. But then I asked myself, what am I going to do with this, qualification that I have now? And I thought, oh yes, Royal College of Midwives, they would need stewards. And the stewards, as in the union rep, helping our midwives, helping to solve our problem, especially when we get into trouble, and things like that. So, and discussing cases, issues, So that's what I done. I thought that's good. But after a while, I said to myself that I realized that some of the councillors and even the MPs, that they are lawyers.
Right.
I say, hey, yes, this is it. This is where I'm going to, And that's what actually sparked me even more, to join the party. And then when they ask questions, and then every evening I go to them, every time they got meetings. If I'm off, I go to the meetings. And then I become very scarce. Then my friends started saying, Kate, we don't see you every time you're at the meeting. What type of meeting is this?
You disappeared.
I really disappeared, because instead of being at home, like talking, I said, oh, I'm at a meeting. And then from there, at the meeting, I learned about school governors.
Yeah.
And that's when I started, joined 2 schools, primary schools. I've been a school governor for over 30 years of 2 schools.
Wow.
And it just instead of sitting at home and watching television, I go to meetings. What do you do in these meetings? I say, listen, I may not be contributing, but I'm learning a lot, And I remember one time that I went to a conference, and this lady was speaking to about 1,000 people. And I said to myself, oh my God, isn't that amazing? I can never, ever do this. But then those little meetings that I was going exposed me gradually. Now I go out, I've traveled to India to give talks, and Europe and so forth. So I think, it's just me believing that I can do something. And this is how I gradually got into politics.
Incredible. And now you find yourself delivering speeches to all sorts of people and all sorts of sizes of audience as well. I know that to be true. So never say never, and never give up, I think is what I'm hearing.
Yes.
Now, having been elected twice, I think speaks volumes about your character and your integrity, but also your sense of public duty and committed service. And those are such important qualities, particularly in a landscape at the moment where mostly politicians hit the headlines for not so great reasons. It's really heartening to know that there are men and women on the ground, just like you, who are committed to making a positive difference to local community and at a grassroots level. Can you tell me maybe just one story of a lasting difference that you think you've been able to make as a result of your service in public life?
The one that will always stay in me, especially when I leave politics as well, is having been able to be the one that introduced the young mayor in Enfield.
Right.
We have, because, we always speak for the young people, but we never give them opportunity to speak for themselves.
No.
So with the introduction of the young mayor and the deputy young mayor as well, they attend our meetings, and they're able, and they shadow the councillors, and they're able to tell us the immediate things that they want. And I think I started that because I've got a small organization that I called Catch Them Young.
Catch them young. I love it.
Yes, it was through that I managed to get, sort of the young mayor. So I was quite happy, to do that, and at the moment, as well, we're with the Catch Them Young, we're organizing a business fair for the young people, which we're going to do in July, just to get the young. Some of them are very good in, doing things. Some of the girls are making earrings and then doing little things, and we want to expose them. They're our future entrepreneurs.
They absolutely are. And I love that that's part of your legacy locally, because young people are so often disengaged with politics for all sorts of good and understandable reasons. They feel that there's just such a chasm between their experience and their hopes and their ideals and what they actually see outplayed on the political stage. So to have young people brought into the heart of local government to really shadow and allow their voice to be heard is such a great way to engage them into that space. I think that's wonderful. We are all for that. Yeah. Thinking about your life, extraordinary moments of adversity and challenge, but always a sense of purpose and passion in you. And I know that one of those things that you are really passionate about is seeing women empowered and encouraged. Why?
I think because we women, I came from a culture where women are not encouraged.
Right.
And but at the same time, I was fortunate that my father believed in gender equality.
That's incredible.
And he got 5 boys, and he had his friends. I never knew that, but he had his friends. He had to tell me. He had his friends who said to him, "You've got 5 boys. Why are you training her for? You're wasting your money." And that's what he said to them. It's all right. I'll train her when she gets married. If the husband doesn't want her to work, at least she's knowledgeable to be able to sit with her children and do homework with them. You see. So with that, I found that, we also now need to encourage other women and say, listen, my dad encouraged me, and look where I am. I want you to be the same. And we have to remember that we've got daughters coming in front of us. They want to see that their mother actually worked hard, and they want to work harder than them. So this is what I always say. I worked hard, but I worked harder than my mother. So I expect my daughters to work harder than me. So, and that includes every woman, every young woman I talk to. I said, you can do this, you can do that. It may not do the way I done it, but you will get there. I think it's important.
Yeah, and what a blessing, firstly, to have a father that saw that potential in you and really understood that sense of gender equality and invested in your education. I think we can all safely say that you did a lot more than just pass on information to your children. That education has actually propelled you into some incredible spaces, and you didn't stop learning. You've been a lifelong learner, including accumulating a law degree amongst all of those other accolades, achievements and awards that you've received over the course of your career to date. Advocacy is important to you. You have tirelessly advocated for women to take their place in public life and in the arena of politics, including founding a forum for African, Caribbean and Asian women in politics. How much work is there still to be done to encourage women from those groups to take their place in that arena? And what do you think might hold them back?
I think there's a lot of work to be done. Still a lot of work to be done, especially women from ethnic minority.
Yes.
Because where politics is done here is different from where I come from. Where I come from, they believe that men is the only ones that could be politicians.
Right.
And at the same time, it also exchange with money as well. And then it's not by merit either. So while our women are here, they think it's the same. So they haven't really, tried to engage to find out, it's actually different. You can get into politics through your merits. And you don't have to be a politician, but you can get into a leadership, as well. Because all these things are the things that makes you, because not everybody are politicians. No. We have got great leaders, who are women, that have empowered and made some impact among other women, within other women. So I tell them that you need to believe in yourself and say, yes, I'm a woman, but I can do it. I can do it even better. It's just for us to allow ourselves, let's loosen ourselves and allow ourselves to explore the things that people think we cannot do. We can do them.
Absolutely, I wholeheartedly agree with that. Looking back over your life, if you could offer any piece of advice to young Kate, what would it be?
I'll just keep going.
Keep
Keep
going.
going, keep believing in yourself and keep going non-stop.
Absolutely.
Because I believe there's still more. There's still more things to do. Still more things. And I find there's still more things to do. At the moment, I've gone back, doing my, breastfeeding training.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
I've done the full 2 days training already and doing the 12 weeks one. So as to continue to encourage women to breastfeed. That's what I'm doing at the moment.
Non-stop is a very good way to describe you. You are definitely the definition of someone who keeps going, and I don't see any signs of you slowing any at this point. In fact, if anything, I'd say you are becoming even more intentional about the legacy that you leave behind you, and you're passionate about bridging the gap between generations and sharing the life lessons that you've learned with younger women. I want to quote you specifically from an article that I read. You said this: "Having lived for more than 70 years, it's about time I share my experience, expertise, and wisdom with a new generation of women." Now, I love that because here at Bespoke Conversations, we're all about seeing a community of women who will collaborate with one another and lift each other up. How are you actively investing in younger women coming through? And what do you think would change if more senior women took the time to mentor younger women?
Oh, that would be wonderful for our young girls coming up.
Yes.
Because I always believe that when you climb up the ladder, look back and see who's coming and pull that person up with you.
Right.
Don't let the ladder fall without pulling up that person.
Wow.
And if you pull that person will do the same, and it will carry on going.
Right.
And I think that is very, very important, because if we don't do that, then it means all those things that we think we learn and we know, it's just going to disappear with us. So you really haven't done anything, haven't achieved anything. For me, the achievement is having been able to encourage others to do the same or even better.
Yes, absolutely. That's the definition of success, really, isn't it? Allowing someone else to pick up the baton, run with it, and to go further than you have been. That's the secret to really ensuring that new generation comes through. We want them to be stronger than we ever have been, and I love that mentality. It's so important. I can't help feeling, as I reflect on your story, that there's a beautiful symmetry. You see, you spent 40 years as a midwife, delivering over 1,000 babies, as we've heard. And now you find yourself in a completely different space, the world of politics. I know that you're still very active as a councillor. And you are here standing as a midwife, getting ready to deliver this next generation of women into all that they've been called to be, all that they have been created to be. So you're still effectively a midwife, just in a very, very different way. And I love that, because I think that there's such power in delivering people into their calling and their purpose. As we come into land, I firstly want to say thank you for what you have modelled. You are a beautiful model of consistency, of resilience, of never giving up, of finding the joy and the positivity amidst adversity. And as much as you sacrificed that dream years ago of becoming a teacher, I, for one, can say that the United Kingdom has benefited from your loyal and devoted service, both the NHS and the political space. So we're really grateful for that. That's been our gain. Thank you for that. But I want to leave you with our two final questions, and I ask these to every guest who comes onto the video cast. Are you ready?
Yeah, ready.
Okay, firstly, which woman has inspired you most, whether that's historical or present day?
I think Tina Turner has inspired me.
Great
and maybe because of what she gone through, and also I'm a domestic abuse advocate.
Yes.
Yes, and the Mother Teresa for her humbleness and the way that she's led the world.
Yes.
She really worked hard for the world. And Maya Angelou, who again, walked through so much as well.
What an incredible example.
They all went through adversity and they survived. So I think,
I'm sensing a bit of a theme there.
Yes.
Resilience in the face of adversity.
Yes.
Absolutely great role models. And final question then, in no more than 5 words, if you could leave us with a motivational quote today that would encourage women listening in to know that they can change the story for others, what would it be?
believe in yourself.
Believe in yourself.
Yes.
Aunty Kate
Believe in
Anolue,
yourself.
it's been just a privilege to have you with us today. Thank you.
Thank you for thinking that my story is worthy for other women to hear.
What
And
a story.
I think it's, for me, I think it's very important, because I believe that every single person has got a unique thing in them.
Absolutely. Words to live by. Thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you.
This has been episode 5 of Bespoke Conversations. Thanks again to the amazing Dr. Kate Anolue. It's been great to chat to you today. You can read more about Kate's amazing journey in her books Time for Purpose and Kate Anolue, the autobiography, both of which are available on Amazon. Big thanks to you for joining me today. Head over to bespokeconversations.co.uk to catch all our previous episodes. And if you want to get in touch with us, please email us at info@bespokeconversations.co.uk. We'll see you next time.